is September the 10th. The time is 6 o'clock. This is the meeting of the Planning Advisory Board. We'll call the meeting to order. I will read the roll call. Please indicate if you are present. Melanie Hartwig Davis. Lawrence Blevins.
Present.
Edward Evans. Michael DePietro.
Present.
Van Mason. Elizabeth Rossberg.
Present.
And myself, Gus Kurtz. With 4 members present, we have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda has been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve the July 23rd minutes?
Motion to approve July 23rd.
Motion's been made and second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Wait, I abstain.
You abstain?
I wasn't in
You
attendance.
weren't in attendance. Okay, the minutes are approved. Tonight's agenda will start with the draft water sewer master plan amendments. Staff from the Office of Planning and Zoning will provide a briefing on the amendments, and then we'll open the floor to public testimony. After tonight's meeting, there will be an opportunity to send in written comments to the Planning Advisory Board by Tuesday, September 16th. The PAB will meet again on Wednesday, September 17th, to deliberate on the amendments. Is there anybody that signed up to speak?
No one registered ahead of time. There's no one in the audience. Let me see if anyone is on. I don't see any member, or there's one attendee on Zoom.
Okay, at this time, we'll turn the floor over to Desiree Williams and Chris Murphy. Okay,
He's online.
Chris Murphy's on. Okay,
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Desiree Williams. I'm in long-range planning in the Office of Planning and Zoning, and I'm joined by Cindy Carrier from OPZ, the whole OPZ plan is here. We also have Chris Biggerstaff, and Chris Murphy from DPW, and David Braun from DPW, and Al Herb from the Department of Health. So we have several water sewer master plan amendment requests to discuss tonight, all of which are associated with Department of Public Works capital projects. So no private amendment requests this round. As a reminder, and for you, Michael, I think this is probably the first time you've gone through this amendment process for water sewer. So these amendment requests are reviewed by an interagency team. So always, even when we have capital projects, we send them out to the IMP, Health, Department of Public Works, and OPZ. We all review them and provide input and feedback before they come to PAB for review. So we look for consistency with the general development plan, and then DPW, of course, determines if there's adequate capacity to serve. So if it was a private application, a private amendment, they would look to see if it was viable. And we make recommendations as to whether to support the amendment prior to bringing it to you. So we're not in an update year for the water sewer master plan. We offer 2 cycles for amendments when we're not doing an update. We do those updates, comprehensive updates to the water sewer master plan every 3 years. So when we're not in one of those years, then we offer 2 amendment cycles that we review these requests on. So this legislation is scheduled for introduction to County Council on October 6th and will ultimately require approval by the Maryland Department of Environment for final adoption. And then if approved, there's an opportunity for the county to apply for state grants in January 2026 that would assist with funding for these capital projects. So trying to meet that time. So next slide. So we'll start with the first, the most straightforward amendment request, which is for the Police Special Operations Building. This amendment request is from the Arundel County Department of Public Works to extend public water to the proposed Police Special Operations Facility. It's located at 8321 Grover Road in Millersville. So a water main extension project is proposed in order to eliminate the need for the installation and maintenance of costly underground fire suppression storage tanks. We have David Braun here hopefully online in case you have any questions on this one, but it essentially just brings the, we have to change the category from no public service to planned service. And then we bring it into the service area. Currently it's in the rural service areas. We bring that into the Glen Burnie 295 high water pressure zone in order to serve the project. Along the question on that
Why
one.
don't we open up for questions for each and each
Okay,
one?
sure.
So, any questions?
Yes, please.
Elizabeth?
Mr. Chairman. Question is, I understand that it's going to service the special operations building, but are other facilities or private residents allowed to tap in?
So this, that whole other side, you can see that's 97 on the east side. The whole west side is all in the no public service area, except for the property to the north, which is the central. We reviewed that amendment actually a couple of years ago for the central services warehouse facility. So it's only that parcel that's in planned service. Everything else is in no public service. So they would not be, be allowed
That was
to.
my question. Right, but I'll be asking that, almost all of them, so
Okay.
just be prepared. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Lawrence?
What's the extension like?
I'm sorry.
How long is the extension?
Okay, do we have David or Chris?
Yeah.
Can you talk
Yeah.
about the extension?
Yeah.
in more detail?
So the water main is actually being extended as we speak for the warehouse property. Can you hear me?
Okay, David, we can hear you now.
Okay. The water main is actually being extended from Veterans Highway for the warehouse property for the amendment that was done a couple of years ago. And that is just starting construction, so that's going to be in place anyway. And that will extend the water main down, basically down the property line between the warehouse property to the north and this. Then this property will just need to connect it, be able to connect to that water main.
But did you give a length before we heard you, or was that the end of it?
It's if I remember right, from Veterans Highway, it's about between 1,500 and 2,000 feet total. But that, let's say that project is in the capital program and has been designed and approved, and we have the contractor ready to start construction on it as we speak.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, Jessica, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so the second changes to discuss are, we've kind of bucketed, it's, all the changes are in this, the next changes are all in this area, but we have some for water and some for sewer, so this map is showing the water changes. And so, yeah, we'll discuss the service category changes for the Crownsville Memorial Park area and the future joint 911 Public Safety Center. So for the, just to give a little background on the Crownsville Memorial Park area, and if I mess anything up here, Chris, feel free to chime in. But the area was historically owned by the state of Maryland and was served by private water and wastewater treatment plants. The area has been depicted on our county maps as being in the rural service area due to it not being served by public water and sewer. So that's it's been in the no public water service category and the other sewer service category. In December of 2022, the county acquired the Crownsville Hospital from the state. And as you know, the county's put together the Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park Master Plan to plan for the future vision of the park. And the county also took over ownership and operation of the water treatment plant and the wastewater system that served the hospital site and vicinity. So with the change in ownership, the county proposes to change the water service category from no public service to existing and bring the area into a proposed Crownsville 263 water pressure zone. So this will be a new water pressure zone that is described in chapter 3 of the water sewer master plan. So that's part of this amendment, is also that text amendment that will describe that water pressure zone in chapter 3. And the county is working on a long-term facility plan to evaluate whether to continue operating the water treatment plant or abandon it and supply the Crownsville water pressure zone from another water pressure zone, essentially. For the joint 911 public safety center, that area, shown on so the Crownsville Memorial Park area is the larger red area there. The joint 911 center is, farther down and, North Highway, and, is currently in the design phase and scheduled to start construction in December 2026, if I still have that right. DPW is proposing to serve the site with an 8-inch restricted access water main, which would require changing the area from no public service to planned service and bringing it into the Broad Creek 210 water pressure zone. So these changes also require text amendments, like I said, in chapter 3. Those changes are outlined in that attachment A that we sent. It's got a whole bunch of text changes in there that outline those water pressure. So I think that's it for water, and then we'll have more to discuss for sewer.
I have a question on water. Since Crownsville was a no service area, obviously there were private wells there. When they abandon those wells, or are they going to abandon those wells, and will they be, if not, will they tie in to provide water to the water that's being used?
So the current wells are being used by our water treatment plant now, stuff like that, since there are some abandoned wells, but we have 2 or 3 online now that we're using to provide water to the tenants at Crown.
And once you tie in, will those wells still provide
So
water?
there's no determination that we're tying in anything at this point. Like
Okay.
right now, we're still evaluating the
Planned
plan
service.
to see if it's still viable to keep the plant running, or is it better to connect into the Broad Creek system and stuff like that? So we're
And
still.
in the future, there may be a tower, a water
So
tower
there's
that's
there's
needed.
2 water towers already on site, stuff like that, so we
Okay.
are using those. No problem and stuff. So,
Okay.
but basically, that one is, when we started to look through the master plan, it wasn't called out and stuff, since it was a private entity, it remained private. Now that the county owns it, we need to put it in as a public entity. That's basically the big changes. Since the county now owns, we have to change how it's linked.
So is that why you're jumping from no public service to existing?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, if you look at the current version, it says no, but there's a water plant and everything there and stuff like that. It caught us off guard because there is a private water category. How the state got through that is, we don't understand how that one didn't get passed, because there are private areas of private water service in other areas, why that wasn't labeled for Crownsville.
So will you come back to the planning advisory board once it's determined if you're gonna keep that water treatment plant, or if you are going to build something differently?
We would come back if we, plan to connect into the Broad Creek system and stuff.
We will have the triennial update happening. I'm not sure when that would be determined, but we will have the triennial update happening starting next year, 2020, kick off in 2025. So if it aligns with that timing, we would provide any updates in that triennial update.
Any other questions? Okay, sewer now?
Okay. And that's why I just. Okay, so we'll just cover that kind of covered the history there. So just cover the specific changes needed for sewer. So for sewer, the existing wastewater treatment plant for the hospital was determined to be ineffective and beyond repair. So the county has been pumping and hauling sanitary flows to the Annapolis sewer system since 2024. So the county has initiated several capital projects in 2024 to abandon and decommission the existing treatment plant and construct a new sewage pumping station and force main to convey sanitary flows to the Annapolis sewer service area for treatment. So this would require changing the sewer service category from currently in other and no public service. There's little kind of pieces of both. They would all go to existing and then bring the area into the Annapolis sewer service area. And then also note the 8-inch restricted access sewer main and pump station to serve the area. And then the joint 911 center would also be served by that restricted access sewer main and would require changing from no public service to planned service. And that would also go in the Annapolis sewer service area.
One quick comment, we're pumping and hauling to the trucks sewer system,
Okay,
not Annapolis.
Okay, okay.
So a question with the Annapolis sewer area. There's a plan, and I believe it's implemented to take the Mayo sewer, individual sewer tanks and tie them in and run them underneath and put that into the Annapolis sewer.
It's already happened and it's been in place for a year.
Okay, so that capacity,
My question was the
the
capacity.
capacity,
Yeah,
it seems
so-
like all this is going to Annapolis, and is there going to be the capacity issue?
Yeah, so we looked at the capacity, currently the flows from Crownsville are about 40,000 gallons per day, which is nothing for a plant. The Annapolis plant was 7 million gallons per day plant, stuff like that, so it's very minimal flow we'd be sending to it at this point.
Currently, but
Currently.
with the development of Crownsville Park and all those new tenants moving in and redoing it and everything else, what is the projection then?
So, we're projecting a lot more flow, but the Annapolis can still handle it. We're not gonna send any more flow than Annapolis can ever handle. So before we can assign flows to any area, we have to make sure the plant that it's going to can handle whatever flows we are setting.
And is all of this and the projected flow on the books so that when there's other projects, whether it be commercial or residential, that flow is already on the books for Annapolis?
So we do projections out for all our pump stations, plants and all that out to 2040, 2050 and all that to try to account for any development out into the future and all that. So we did that same calculation we did for any new pump station, any upgrade, stuff like that, to make sure the plant can handle any future upgrades.
Thank you.
One of the reasons, we ask and concerned about the capacity is because for a number of years, and DPW has done a really, really good job of fixing this. There were a number of pump stations that were overflowing, on more than one time. And they replaced all the generators there and we haven't seen any, sewage spills in years. So that was a concern and that's been fixed. I will mention though that I'm from North County area and I live on the Patapsco River where it meets the bay. And this spring, we did have a 20 million gallon overflow from the sewage plant up there. And it impacted our area very much so.
So that was the Patapsco sewage plant that's owned by the city.
Yes.
Not in Arundel County. So
I'm not blaming the county, I'm just bringing it up. 20 million gallons is a lot of overflow.
I understand it.
Yeah.
In the water.
So everybody is always concerned about capacity.
It's definitely a black eye on our industry.
Yeah.
Door and stuff, but.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's all.
Any other questions? No.
Okay, Richard.
Okay, that's it. All right, let's see here. So we now open it for public hearing. Every speaker will be afforded 2 minutes. If you're called, please come provide your name and address before providing your comments. Do we have anybody?
We have one person in attendance. It is Brian Chu, who I believe works for the Department of Health. So I don't think we have any members of the public in attendance, that are interested in giving comment.
Okay, once again, we'll take written testimony up until September 16th, and we will again deliberate this on September 17th. Next. Okay, next we'll hear from the Office of Planning and Zoning on the Odenton Town Center Master Plan amendments. Desiree and Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Evening.
All right, Mark and Sam, the floor is yours. Is there anybody to sign up to speak on this? No?
So again, my name is Mark Woolonger, planner with the Long Range Planning Division, Office of Planning and Zoning, joined by Sam Myers, also part of the Odenton Town Center project team. So if you remember during the Odenton Town Center master plan process, which occurred about 2 years ago, it got adopted February 2024, the county was not permitted to rezone properties. That the code states that rezoning must occur during the region plan process. Nonetheless, in the plan, the Odenton Town Center Advisory Committee and the Office of Planning and Zoning, we included a section in the master plan outlining a vision of what should be zoned then during the region plan comprehensive zoning process. As you know, the Region 5 comprehensive zoning process is currently underway. We'll see you all next week to give you a briefing on Region 5, 6, and 8. And so given that the OTC, the Odenton Town Center, is in Region 5, now would be the time to revisit the Odenton Town Center Master Plan zoning recommendations, which are on pages 28 and 29, if you're following along. When reviewing the recommendations, they're on pages 28 and 29, I think. This over here. The Office of Planning and Zoning and the Office of Law recognize that some items may not apply due to recent developments and that there is a need to provide some additional specificity to the existing language. So hence the reason we're here to discuss these potential amendments to pages 20, only to pages 28 and 29 of the plan. I'll also note that the Odenton Town Center Advisory Committee received a briefing from Sam and myself August 26th, and the Odenton Town Center Advisory Committee did recommend support of these amendments. So the next two slides, or this slide and the next slide, are again just screenshots from this slide here is a screenshot from the existing Odenton Town Center master plan, the adopted master plan. And again, as if you just sort of briefly follow along here, these first couple of paragraphs just describe how there would be, or it's a recommendation to create three new zoning districts, splitting the Odenton Town Center core into the east and west core, as well as essentially flattening out a historic village mixed block overlay to become its own zoning district. And then these bullet points provide some additional detail for properties that should be added or subtracted from the Odenton Town Center or change their zoning district. But again, within these bullets, we don't provide a level of specificity like the address or the tax account number, and then even more so providing what the zoning district should be for those properties. So you all had received then a marked up copy of the draft text to replace pages 28, and then the map, an updated map, for page 29 of the master plan. So again, starting up,
I needed some clarification. You're referring to 28 and 29 of the Odenton master plan, not of Region 5.
of the Odenton Town Center master plan. Yep. Yep, so Region 5 we'll talk about next week.
Okay.
Yep. So page 28 on the left-hand side of the screen here, again, we're removing those references to creating those new zoning districts. And then the bullet points, just again, reinforce the county policy that we don't want to see any split zoning unless otherwise noting that it's intentional, as well as adding the open space for any parcels that are perpetually protected. And then the next 4 bullets, again, identify specific properties that should be added to the Odenton Town Center, as well as whether we need to change the zoning on properties already within the Odenton Town Center. So the third bullet here is 1046 Annapolis Road, is a northeast corner here of the Sappington Station Circle. It's a commercial property. We felt it should be included within the Odenton Town Center to help increase some of the potential mixed use then within this area. Property owner had also requested that.
Sorry, slow down just a bit.
Yep.
Go back to where you're pointing. You're pointing
Yep.
to the yellow,
Right, yep, so it is
all yellow.
just this one property
Oh,
here at the
okay,
northeast
okay.
corner. It's
That's what
it's 1046 Annapolis
Okay,
Road.
thank you.
1311 Odenton Road is the trailhead for the WB&A Trail. Here at the corner of Piney Orchard Parkway and Odenton Road. And then 1421, 1423, this is an interesting one because at one point they had a historic structure in their front yard because it had been moved from a different property. So it was on a flatbed. We had this historic structure on a flatbed in their front yard. That structure has since been demolished, and so there is no historic structure on the property, on the premise, right, anymore. So we're recommending removing that historic village mix overlay and recommending that it go to the Odenton Town Center Transition Zoning District. And then the last bullet here is regarding a property at 1405 Odenton Road, also known as Ferguson Trenching. They're looking to subdivide their property to build a training facility and carve off a corner of the property where there is a historic house. So the recommended zoning district reflects their current subdivision plans and their desires. So again, very simply, updating these 2 pages of the master plan based on just, again, recent developments that have happened over the past couple of years. And again, we just wanted to make sure that the Odenton Town Center Master Plan is providing adequate guidance then to the Region 5 comprehensive zoning process.
I was just looking up to see what the SAC recommended on Annapolis Road. And
Is it on here?
So the only property, there were a couple zoning applications within the Odenton Town Center. The SAC did agree with the Office of Planning and Zoning's recommendations for all the properties that we could present at that time. So for example, we were still working on this 1311 Odenton Road, this corner here, as well as 1046 Annapolis Road. So while they did give the overall, we agree with all the other recommendations that the Office of Planning and Zoning is presenting to us, but we're not talking about specifically. They didn't provide a specific recommendation on these 2.
so overall, they were in agreement.
They trusted our
Yeah,
judgment
okay.
recommendation.
All righty, any other questions? Pretty cut.
Yeah, right.
Great job.
Yeah, pretty
That's the
cut and
easy
dry.
part.
Yeah.
Okay, so this time we'll open it up to public testimony.
Wait till next.
If we don't have anybody signed up, I will make the note again that, written testimony will be accepted up until 11:59 on Tuesday, September 16th. And, they can be submitted to the Planning Advisory Board at aacounty.org. Anybody?
Brian is still online. Brian, if you had any comments on the Odenton Town Center Master Plan, you can use the raise hand feature under reactions, to provide testimony.
Okay, with that, we will close the public
Oh, I
testimony.
do see the raise hand, I'm sorry.
We do have a raised hand?
Okay, Brian, I'm gonna, you'll have a talk button, so you'll be able to unmute your microphone if you want to provide public comment on the Odenton Town Center.
Oh, I just wanted to say I didn't have any comment. I'm just observing and watching.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll close public testimony at this time. Next, we'll hear from the Office of Budget on some budget transfers. Thank you.
Yeah, great job.
Naomi is not online yet. Let me just send her an email. We are running ahead of schedule.
Was online. Yeah, she was.
Did I see, did I miss her?
Yeah, might have. She was dropped off.
I'll just send her a chat real quick.
There she is. Leaving, I know. Yep, she's on.
Okay, which is proper. No, good.
Hi Naomi, as you get set up, we're ready to talk about budget whenever you are.
Oh, great.
Naomi, we're a little early, but whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Naomi McAllister, Capital Budget Analyst in the Office of Budget. I'm here this evening to present request to amend the fiscal year 26 approved capital budget and program. This request touches 4 capital projects, and there are basically 2 types of adjustments that we're requesting. The first request, or the type of adjustment we're requesting, is really a net zero impact to the capital projects. What we're basically requesting is a funds transfer. So there isn't going to be an increase in amount, it's just a change in the funding structure. The second type of adjustment that we're going to be requesting is actually a supplemental appropriation. So we will be increasing the fiscal year 26 approved capital budget and program. So what I'd like to do at this time is share my screen to provide a high-level summary of what it is we're looking to do. So do you all see a table in front of you? I'm sorry, you broke up.
No.
Okay, great. Great. So the first
No.
capital.
No, we don't do.
Oh, bear with me. Okay, did that work?
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, great. Okay. The first capital project this evening is C565500 Odenton Mark. And we're asking to acknowledge basically a state grant from MDOT. It is specifically the Transit Oriented Development Capital Grant, which came in for $750,000. So we're asking to acknowledge the grant and reduce general county bonds by $750,000. And again, the net impact of this capital project is the same as the fiscal year 26 approved budget of approximately $2.5 million. The next capital project that is requesting a funding transfer is H575500 Maryland 170 widening. We're requesting a reduction in developer contribution and an increase in general county bonds. During the process of review with SHA and the county, it was determined that the estimated revenues year to date for developer contribution have not been realized. So we've basically received about $78,000. The fiscal year 26 approved budget is anticipating $100,000. However, in order to meet and execute the agreement, we need to kind of make up that shortfall. So we're requesting $22,000 to make the project whole, but the net impact on the funding will not change. So you can see here, actually for fiscal year 26, they weren't requesting any additional funding. This is a net zero impact on this one. The next two capital projects are requesting supplemental appropriation. The first one here is H 575700, Maryland 214 in Lock Haven. And we are requesting an increase of $488,000 in capital bond or general county bonds. This increases the project from approximately $1.1 million to about $1.6 million. And this is basically due to an updated cost estimate we've received from MDOT SHA. The final project requesting supplemental appropriation is in the J class, the community college. It's J441200 campus improvements. They're looking to increase their fiscal year 26 appropriation by $57,500. This funding source would be from their fund balance, the community college PAYGO. And this really kind of stems from the sale of the modular building. So they're requesting to utilize the proceeds from that sale to make improvements to the parking lot area around where the modular building was. So that concludes the high-level summary of the request. We do have David Braun here, who's engineering administrator from the Department of Public Works. And we also, I believe, have Andrew Little, who's the executive director of finance at the community college. So are there any
Thank you.
questions?
Question for community college. Have the temporary buildings been removed from the property?
It's just the one modular building. So we had the modular and then we had the annex buildings. The annexes are still there. We're going to keep those through the master plan, but the modular itself has been removed, and we're trying to repair where the pier sat in the parking lot to put the parking lot back together.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Did you have a question?
Yes, I did have a question. My question is, I know the answer to it, but I want to be on the record to say, okay, H 575500, those developer contributions were not as much because we did not get impact fees, or why are we now having to pay $22,000 more out of our bond?
Now, the developer contribution that's shown there was and is funds received from traffic mitigation from development. When we first approached this project, we came up with the various developments that were in the area that there would probably be about $100,000, which is the number we used in the budget. At this point, we haven't received that yet, but there may still be more in the future. The issue is that in order to sign the agreement with the state and to transfer the funds we do have, we need the full funding in the project. And so this shift takes $22,000 of what we had actually saved out of the project on top, where we removed $750,000 of bonds from that. It takes it out of that and moves it here so that it allows us to sign the agreement with MDOT. The account will always be open so that any additional developers that come in there will be able to contribute and make up that difference, in which case we can repay the bonds.
Exactly, that last sentence is key. So we will have an opportunity to do that, and it'll be noted that it should be into this account versus those impact fees going to a new project.
Well, yes, these are not impact fees. These are separate payments for traffic mitigation that's required when there's a fee in lieu instead of actually providing physical improvements. But yes, we will continue to work on that. And the OPZ is aware that when they have something in the area that is looking to provide a contribution, that this is the account they would guide that to.
Okay, I appreciate that, because those fee in lieu of aren't always used in the area that the developer is developing. So I appreciate having it help those people out directly. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Questions? Lawrence?
Where exactly is that 170 widening located at?
Brian may remember the exact limits. I apologize right now, but it's basically, I believe from Telegraph Road North towards 174.
It's between 174 and 100.
Yeah.
It's 4 lanes just south of 100 and next down to 2 lanes down to 174. So it'll fill in that missing gap.
Understood. Thank you.
Very much needed. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the
CIP.
CIP transfers.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to approve the budget transfers as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Thank you, Naomi
Thank you. Good night.
and Brian, thank you. Okay, with that, we have administrative.
We'll start our review of the region plans next week. You guys got your materials because you're here tonight, and I'll drive materials around tomorrow probably so that everybody can have them about a week in advance. Because you'll hear from our senior planners. They'll sit in the front of the room and give you a briefing on what's in the plans and what are some of the key areas to highlight, like geographic areas when it comes to planned land use and comprehensive zoning. Then on September 24th, we'll be at Rolling Knolls Elementary School for the Region 6 public hearing. We are mailing to all property owners in Region 6 and letting them know about that date. Then September 30th, which is a Tuesday, we'll be at Southern High School for the Region 8 public hearing. Once again, mailing to all property owners, letting them know about that date.
Is that a new thing? Did you do that for all the regions?
We did it for round 2, but not.
Okay. Sorry.
And then on October 8th, we're back to Wednesday. We'll be at Crofton High School to discuss Region 5, and we're mailing everybody. So we'll hopefully get good turnout and for the public hearing pieces.
What was the date you added one in?
Did you second the date that was not on a Wednesday?
Tuesday, September 30th. So then the only thing left to discuss then is a need for an October 22nd meeting. Another budget issue came up that wasn't quite finalized to discuss tonight or next week. But it does need to go to the county council by November. And so the meetings for the PAB between now and November that are currently scheduled are the public hearings. And so, you know, we're mailing to folks. There's going to be a large turnout to talk about region plans. We didn't think it was appropriate to introduce a CIP transfer that might not even be about those geographic areas at those meetings. And so I know we're working you really hard, but we are requesting an additional night of your time on October 22nd. So far, the only item is that budget item, so I anticipate it will be brief and it will be entirely on Zoom then.
Yeah, so we can zoom that.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And that'll be a 15-20 minute meeting. So
So the 22nd is Zoom.
Yes.
And you said Southern High School
Yes,
is the 30th.
that's correct.
Okay. And that's at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And are we starting early next week to?
Next week will be at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Everything until November will be at 6 o'clock, our regular time. In November, that's when we shift to 5 o'clock because we're gonna start your deliberations on the region plans. And we just wanna make sure that you guys have enough time to discuss. We know that these are thinner plans and comprehensive zoning tables than you're used to. but they're still filled with a lot of good information, and so we want to make sure you have time to discuss everything before you start to get too tired. Since we're starting at 5 o'clock, I can request, funds for us to maybe fry dinner. I do have to request them and get approved, but, I can send out a survey once I get some information about how much we're approved for. In case you guys are interested in something other than Panera and pizza this time.
Love Panera. I love Panera.
Fine, yeah, that's fine, simple and fine.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Anything else?
So that's it from me. Do you guys have any
I
other
don't
questions?
think we have any questions. We're good. Send all the dates out again. I know you have. Good job on that. Thank you. And, with that, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
motion's been made and second. All in favor?
all right.
Aye. Any nays? Meeting's adjourned.